Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to do an upper body session. Now I'm joined today by Ed Rimell, who's our new coach. So Ed's got a background in bodybuilding, a natural bodybuilder himself, currently competing, background in online PT and PT, and I want Ed to walk me through one of his sessions. So you'll find out what Ed's style is like as we go through the session. So to kick us off, Ed, upper body, what is the general plan? I got no clue what you're giving me today, so you can tell me what we're going to do, and we'll get into the meat and bones as we get on with it.
Okay, sweet. So upper body session today, we're going to be looking at a push and pull in the horizontal and the vertical plane. So we're going to do a vertical pull, a horizontal pull, and a horizontal and vertical pressing motion as well. So obviously we're working with Sam, who's an older man, very skilled athlete as well. So we're just going to be doing around 2 sets per exercise, and we're just going to be really focusing on the accuracy of each exercise and the intensity of each exercise. So those are the 2 main things that we're going to apply in today's session. I'm going to run you through exercise order, exercise selection, why we're doing things in a certain way, why we're doing it in a certain order, and we're just going to have a good session.
Awesome, let's get into it.
Start with a cuffed side raise. Okay. So reason being we're starting with this.
So I'll let you set this up how you like it. So I'll let you crack on.
So reason being that we're starting with this, so I like to always start with a side raise just to get the shoulder nice and warm before we go into any kind of like the heavier pressing movements. So you just get that shoulder joint nice and warm, nice and ready to move. In terms of cable setup, I'm actually setting it up a little bit higher because what you'll typically find, especially with yourself with shoulder issues, when that cable's in a low position and we're pulling up like this, you get a lot of trap getting involved in your trap to start kind of shrugging up with your shoulder. So if you move it to hip height, what you'll find is the resistance profile actually drops off as you get to the top. So it makes it a little bit easier for the trap when you get into that top position. So we want to use the off hand to get nice and stable. We're going to have hand out in front of us like so, and then we're just going to pull out like so, okay? So this is abduction of the humerus. So we're here and just pulling away, okay? So in terms of cues you want to think of when doing this side raise, we want to think about actually dragging almost in a scooping motion rather than just trying to pull straight back, because we're going to get some shoulder blade movement there. We want to have the arm nice and in front of us and dragging out wide. So yeah, use that offhand as a stabilizer.
How many reps am I looking for, Ed?
So we'll do a couple warm-up sets just to start, just to get a kind of feel for the movement, because obviously it's something that you haven't done probably for a while or before.
I've never done it like this. It's nice, yeah.
So
I thought I'm probably a bit guilty. I'm just ripping dumbbells and you get losing form and.
Yeah. So the thing is with dumbbells, like dumbbells are great and they're good fun, but with a dumbbell, especially in a side raise, there's only really tension at that top position. So what leads to happening is just a lot of swinging, and you're only actually going to get much out of the muscle at the very top. Whereas here we've got tension throughout the whole movement.
God, yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, he's there already.
Nice. Oh, mate, my delts are really poor. Already highlighted a weakness of mine.
Yeah. So
well, I was briefly explaining to my shoulder issues. So this is a nice one now. I can sort of use this as a little bit of a project and try and get it going.
Reason we're using the cuff, because we don't want our grip to be a limiting factor when we're actually trying to train the medial delt. A lot of the times if you're holding a D handle and you're pulling out like so, you're focusing so hard on actually grabbing the handle that it actually takes away from your ability to actually abduct that humerus in the proper motion. So as you can see, Sam,
it's just quite humbling, mate, because it's really making you realise I'm obviously not relying on delt when I'm doing a lot of shoulder stuff. I'm obviously using trying to get my chest and tries into it. So I'm isolating my delt, and it's pretty weak.
So what we would typically do in a position with Sam, if he has one side that's weaker than the other, typically we would do that side first, and then with the stronger side, you can just rep match. So that way you can kind of iron out any imbalances that you have from left to right. And typically, especially if you're someone who struggles with a little bit of shoulder pain, take that first set a little bit lighter, just again, so we can get a lot of blood into that shoulder joint before we then push on for the next set and take it a little bit heavier. Typically do like 2 to 3 sets.
Yeah.
But the catch with volume is that you need to be an individual that can execute well. So what I'll typically find, like in the signature program, if someone's coming on that's new, it might be helpful to utilize a little bit more volume just so they can actually build the skill of the training.
Because you're right there, it is a skill. You're learning actually the movement pattern itself is actually something people do get wrong. And so am I right to jump straight into a second set? I probably had about a minute and a half between, or chill out a bit.
Rest a little bit longer.
Still keep the quality. Cool.
Yeah, because again, in terms of what we're getting out of the muscle, we want good intensity and we want good quality. But yeah, like there's so many benefits of slightly lower volume, but the catch is that's only if you're actually executing the sets properly. A lot of people now, they see all the literature with the lower volume and they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to do 1 set per exercise, but their execution is garbage. So then they're not actually getting the most out of the session that they could be.
What is the biggest mistake you've probably seen coaches make? Like, is it getting their volumes wrong? Or when you see people and they tell you what they're doing, are you thinking like, whoa, too much? Or I don't know, what do you think is maybe the common mistake in young trainers? It's
typically volume. People, like, again, they just hammer home the volume and they hammer home the reps. And it's like pump chasing. So it's like, if you do 20 reps of anything, you're going to feel it in the muscle. But that's just a bunch of blood flow into the muscle. That's not what's actually stimulating the muscle growth. You know, if we look at the effective reps model, it's the last 5 reps of a set towards failure, which cause the most growth. If you're doing a 20 rep set, those first 15, okay, you're going to get little bits of stimulus, but they're essentially just warm-ups for those first 5. So all of that is you're just building up fatigue, really. But again, having said that, time as well. But having said that, you need to have the quality of execution to make the most of the lower rep and the lower volume stuff. So that's something that you typically need to establish with the client first before then utilizing that lower volume.
I've seen your stuff as well. You go heavy, don't you? Are you a believer in going head? I am as well.
You got it. It's like, again, it's like in terms of what builds muscle, it's mechanical tension, and we need high levels of that to actually stimulate muscle growth. So like putting a high amount of load through the muscle through a full range of motion, that is what's going to stimulate the most amount of growth within that area. And your body is so adaptive. That's why progressive overload is so important. And that's why coming in each session and trying to do a little bit more each time, a little bit more load or an extra rep, it keeps that stimulus fresh and it keeps telling your muscle, okay, I need to grow now to be able to adapt, to handle that next week. If you're not progressing, whether it be rep, load, or execution, then your muscle sees no need to adapt and it sees no need to grow.
If somebody hasn't got this attachment, by the way, you don't mind them using the cable still? Or?
So again, you can use a D-handle. A D-handle is perfectly fine, especially if you have a D-handle that the kind of like the straps are loose. You can just use that and wrap it around. But if you have a metal D-handle like the ones in here, you're still going to get a good amount of like stimulus out of this movement again, but it's just like what you'll find is as you get stronger, your grip will just become a little bit of a limiting factor. If you have lifting straps, you can strap into it as well. Just so you can keep the hand relaxed. Because all that happens when you start thinking about the hand so much, you start lifting and the hand raises above the shoulder. So you're actually limiting.
So how am I doing this? Is this all right? This is my weaker shoulder, really much weaker. So my form-wise, is this looking all right?
So what I would do now is straighten out your arm a little bit. So step back from the machine slightly. And then from here, just imagine dragging your knuckles almost into like that corner there.
Okay. But sort of in front of me almost.
So you're kind of pulling here out.
Got you.
Nice. That's spot on. And then you can just keep, you don't need to worry about that hand. You can just, drive out. Beautiful.
Always learning. See, as my brother says, I've mentioned you before off camera, he's a physio. That's why I got pain. I had a really good coach as well who backed up this. I was really weak in my shoulder, I was lifting weak. And it sounds a bit crude this, because you obviously got to do all your prehab bits. People are like, mate, weak things break. It's like, you need to get fucking stronger. And I was like, shit, and I'm looking at it now, I'm like, I've got a bit of pain and stuff. I'm like, mate, I'm side doubting, like.
It's a humbling movement though, and that's the thing, like, it's a single joint movement, and it's looking at a relatively small muscle group. Like, if you're executing it well, you can't expect to be like stacking it.
Of course.
But going back to what you were saying about like actual like tendon integrity and strength there, that's why it's so important to be training through that full range. And actually taking the arm, you can almost take the arm across, so you're getting a really nice stretch there. Like you're not only getting the most amount of mechanical tension through that full range, but you're actually just getting stronger ligaments and tendons through taking the joint through the full range. So you get like, you get 2 for the price of 1, essentially.
Yeah, sweet.
Obviously, this is a little bit more kind of like fluff work. It's not as kind of hardcore, but in terms of being very stable, getting a lot of output out of the lats into a pulling motion, you're not going to find much better than this. Reason we've got the bench is for stability, because a stable muscle is a strong muscle, essentially. The more stable you feel in a movement, your mind is literally going to say, okay, I feel safe, I'm willing to give you more force output. You know, like that's how injuries happen, is when you're trying to produce X amount of force and you're not in a stable state, and then your body goes, oh fuck, I don't like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is going to be a single arm lat pull down. So
We can go heavier than that.
yeah, we can definitely go heavier than that on this. So this is going to be our vertical pulling motion. So we're working in the sagittal plane here, and kind of main focus here is actually keeping the hand as relaxed as you can. So we don't want to be pulling through the hand and the forearm. So in terms of the setup, we're going to pop ourselves down on the bench. Use your off hand as a brace, because again, the problem is when you don't have the bench here, when you get to a certain amount of load, your torso angle moves and you lack that stability. So off hand's going to be on the bench. We're going to allow the shoulder to lift, and then the cue is just driving the elbow down into the hip. So we're here, and then you drive down and you get a nice squeeze there. And then you just lift, have a slight elevation of the scaps here, and then drive down, elbow into the hip, nice and hard.
Love that.
Okay.
How many, Ed?
Take like a false grip with your hand. So have the thumb on the same side as the fingers.
Yeah, I like that.
Keep it nice and keep the hand nice and relaxed. Yeah.
I like your coaching cue. I tell people that I like, imagine there's a pad on the back of your elbow. So like you say, you're not ripping it with your forearm.
Yeah.
It's sort of like you're just trying to pull that pad down.
Yeah.
Like your hand's almost just holding, do you know what I mean? It's the elbow.
Keep your hand in kind of like a semi-supinate
Like
position.
this? Gotcha.
Yeah.
What does that do?
So basically what we're doing, if you kind of internally rotate, you're just going to get a little bit too much through the scap, and you're just going to take away from the lat here.
Got you.
So we kind of want to pin that in place.
Nice cue.
So drive the shoulder down and the elbow into the hip and get a nice big squeeze
Yeah, you
in
can
it.
feel that squeeze.
So obviously this is a very like isolated movement that's going to be training the lats, specifically the lower lats, because we're training in a more vertical plane, but you don't really need to worry about that. In terms of lat training, as long as you're keeping the upper arm close to the body and we're going from shoulder flexion into extension, that's how you're going to train the lats. So that is the function of the lats, is pulling the shoulder from flexion into extension, whether it be from the front or, well, from in the sagittal plane or in the frontal plane, that kind of adduction of the humerus. So we can kind of use this first set as like a feeler, and then
I'll go for it a bit on the second.
Next set we'll load it up a little bit heavier. Again, if you're doing a movement you've never done before, it is always beneficial to, one, take plenty of warm-up sets, and two, do the higher rep set first. Like there is no shame in doing that, just to establish a good connection within the movement in terms of a motor pattern and in terms of the actual feeling of the muscle. And then you can kind of push the belt out a little bit more on that second set and load a bit heavier. In terms of how that felt, what do you reckon? Pop it up by like 3?
Oh, if I was an RPE for like 10, I'd give that like that's just like a nice lightish one, like a 5 or 6. So I can probably load it. If this next set you want me to go quite close to failure? We'll drop it.
We'll take a set close to failure. Just so typically that first set we would have obviously taken it a little bit closer and a little bit heavier, but obviously we're just kind of running through. So feel this for like 1 or 2.
Yeah. So what do you want the ideal rep to be?
What rep range?
Yeah, 10 to 12.
Anywhere from kind of like 6 to 10, 6
to 12. Yeah. Cool.
Like,
all right.
The thing is, all rep ranges work really. Like the main things are accuracy and intensity. Like I said at the start of the session, those are the two things in terms of if we're wanting to get stronger and get bigger. Yeah, looks like we're getting there now.
That's a set now.
The two pillars we want to focus on are accuracy and intensity. Yeah, good. So drive that elbow down hard. Good.
Oh, God, I can feel that in my lats in.
Drive down hard. Lovely. Good.
Oh, that fucking 1 second squeeze is lovely.
And again, drive down hard. Good. Pull through the elbow, down into the hip. Yeah, love it. Good, good, good. Nice. Yeah, love it.
There we go.
Love it.
Jeez.
So as you can see
This is
there,
so different to what I've done before, genuine. Like, I love it though.
give it like a minute or so before you go into the right arm.
Even still, cool.
Yeah. There's going to be an element of like oxygen debt from that first arm. You should approach it the same way.
Guilty of that probably. I just go right, left, rest.
So many people are. So many people are, and then they find that the right arm is 1 or 2 reps short.
So true.
But what you notice there with Sam's set is that he was monitoring his breathing very well, and the breathing and the bracing is so important in terms of like set execution, in terms of being able to just like avoid gassing out of the set.
So many times I've done, I tell you what, it's physios as well who are very much like yourself, very particular on the quality of the movement. So when I'm coming back from rehab, I find physio rehab specialists often focus on those, like what you're focused on, more than a normal S&C coach. And when you say that, it just reminded me of a memory. I had one great physio, and every rep you just go, breathe, Sam. So you just literally go, rather than holding your breath for 4 reps and losing quality when you've got to breathe, like just make it.
Yeah, it's very common to see, especially with a heavier load, you lose, because it's heavy, you kind of you let the load get on top of you, and then you're like, you're holding your breath, and you're trying to you're more so just trying to get through the set, rather than actually focusing on how you're executing. But in terms of, breath work, we want to almost brace before the contraction, and then we can kind of catch our breath on the eccentric, and then re-brace and go again. All right, so here we go. So drive, good. Drive the elbow down into the hip, nice. Good. Yeah, lovely. Really nice. Good. Use that eccentric to get a couple breaths. And drive hard. Yeah, love it. Good. Stay calm. And then drive strong. Yeah, good. Big drive. Finish. Elbow down, elbow down. Yeah, that's it. Beautiful.
Nice. Okay, now I've always thought my worst body part aesthetically is my back. Because you know, there's some people like yourself, because I've seen, obviously people see on your socials, like you've got every bit of fucking definition in your back. You can lats, mid traps, all that. I find mine's not great, but then Josh, one of our other coaches, was going, "Oh, Sam, you're very bicepy when you lift. Like you're making me focus on driving the elbow down. I bet you I get lat DOMs tomorrow." I never get lat DOMs because I'm probably guilty of just like, if I'm chinning, I'm just like using my arms too much rather than thinking lat, elbow. So I've probably got poor back sort of development because I'm not focusing on my back. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I let my arms take over, if that makes sense.
Yeah, lagging body parts are normally due to the fact that either execution's off or you're just not dedicated enough prioritization to it.
That's what I need to do.
For example, with this upper session, let's say you were to come in and do the same session again next week, we would maybe place the back work. Obviously, this is obviously second movement in, but maybe we would do the lat pull first, and then the row second.
Well, while you're stronger, or got more energy.
While you've got like your glycogen stores are full, you can get the most force output. Prioritize that area, and then the areas that, like for example, your chest and your pressing that don't need as much attention, they can go later on in the session.
Nice.
We'll do a low incline. So this will still be like our horizontal press.
So what rep ranges are you looking for in this one?
We'll just do a top set and a back off. So we'll do a heavier top set where we're looking kind of 5 to 8.
And how close to failure do you want that 5 to 8?
As close as you can safely.
Oh, nice, cool.
As close as you can safely, really.
Sweet, all right. And then we say back offset. What do you mean by back offset? From a weight perspective, or from a reps perspective to failure?
So it's a bit of both. So you'll need to back. Well, if the first set is executed properly, you'll need to back off load slightly to get an effective set in the second set. So second set will look probably 10 plus. But yeah,
similar
proximity to failure. You kind of want to have every set as close as you can to failure, obviously granted that it's safe. Again, it's nice training with you that you have so much training experience that you can train to failure safely, especially with something like a dumbbell movement where it's a little less fixed. Having that kind of skill acquisition to be able to actually take it there. safely is important.
So this is the 6 to 8, yeah.
Yeah. Whew, big boy.
Oh, we'll see.
Do
We'll see.
you want help up on the first one?
No, Joe, I'm so used to training on my own. Yeah, normally I used to, Joe, I love normally having somebody lift a dumbbell up for me.
Yeah.
But I've got used to it. Josh, who's here, doesn't like lifting people's dumbbells. So I've got used to lifting them up on my own. But I'm always big for lifting
All right,
them
here we
up.
are. So get your feet nice and stable. Keep that chest proud. Love it. Love it. Good. Big drive. Nice. Good. Big brace. Drive strong. Good. Big press. Good. Yeah, call it there. Call it there.
So you're probably thinking now, I'm doing one plate on a delt raise.
Yeah.
But I'm okay on the old dumbbell press. I've got a massive imbalance in push strength to isolated delt strength. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not.
Yeah.
Should be. a
But
lot
again,
better.
like coming from your background, a lot of the movements you probably do are multi-joint.
Yeah, loads of
Multi-joint
compounds.
functional movements.
Loads
And again,
of compounds.
they're going to be, for the most part, for the majority of clients, they're going to be the most beneficial.
Yeah.
You know,
To kill 3 birds in 1 stone type thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. I tend to have no ego when I lift. Like,
it comes from years of
yeah,
of
rather than
training.
like trying to like sort of, it's like semi-hip thrusting it up. We used to have a thing actually when, so it's quite a good tip to keep people honest. We had let me find a lifting strap. So we used to do this in the rugby to stop people cheating, to make sure because like you say, the purpose of this is to build chest, right? So
Yeah.
we don't want to cheat. So what they used to do in the rugby, I used to like this. You'd have a weight like this. You have to lie on this here.
Yeah.
So if you're benching,
Okay, I
and
see.
as soon as you do this, cheat rep.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
there's
I
quite
like
a good
that.
way of making sure you keep your hips down. Because I said to people, like, when you're benching like this, right, power lifters,
Yeah.
because the angle of your spine to your arms
Yeah.
has been decreased, you're turning it into almost a decline press where you're stronger. So
Yeah,
this
you are.
stops you from doing that. And
Yeah.
because like here we got a shallow incline because we want to work certain part of the chest. We
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
want to. There's no point having an incline and suddenly removing that incline by lifting up your hips.
Yeah,
do you know what I
exactly.
mean?
You need, so your points of contact when you're benching, especially in a free weight, you want your feet, your butt and your head to stay on the bench.
Yes,
Because you want to be stable.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
back to what we said earlier, a stable muscle is a strong muscle.
Yeah. Right. So this is a 10 sort of rep set.
Yeah,
Now,
so what was that, 45?
45 for a 7.
I reckon you can drop down to maybe a 37
Yeah.
or
there we are.
35. So yeah, get those points of contact. Easy. Good. Nice. Good. Good. Nice, breathe. Take one. Big drive. Up strong. Yeah, love it. Nice. Beautiful.
See the hips.
But they
The hips
come
were
up on
coming
that
up on
one.
the last set, so I knew I was starting to struggle. There we are. Nice.
No,
That's good.
that was sweet.
I don't see many seal rows. I love a seal row. It's just
Mate, they're humbling in a seal row. There's just
because
no
it takes
drop
your low
off.
back out of it, you know. So there's a load of seal row in the rugby because you've got to really watch low back management. Like you can't when you're doing rugby training, which we're not here, so it's fine. But if you're an athlete and you're power cleaning, you're bent over rowing, you're squatting, you're RDLing. I'm like when you're suddenly working on back, we don't need the lower back to be the limiting factor. So let's just go prone row, seal row, whatever you call it. And let's just focus on pulling. That's why I like chest supported row.
There's a lot of axial loading, isn't it, when you're doing your strength work?
And that's why I think young coaches probably don't look at how much axial loading is because we don't want the lower back to be the limiting factor if we're building our back. It's good to incorporate it, but sometimes I look at a session plan and if it's like say it's a full body session and it's a squat, RDL, bent over row, I'm saying like, there's a lot of lower back in there.
Just thinking of that, my lower back's spent.
Yeah,
Just thinking of that layout. So chest supported row, reason we're doing it chest supported again, like Sam said, we're just stabilizing the torso. So it kind of takes away any kind of loading through the lower back and through the spine. And just also, it removes it as a limiting factor, again, just to reiterate what Sam said. And it just, with that chest support, we can allow our scaps to really almost pull around the bench and get a really nice deep stretch through the scaps there. So kind of cues here, I actually want you to sit a little bit higher on the bench.
Yeah,
so
I was going to ask you that question,
We're not going to be here. I want you to almost be like a little bit on top of it.
So your shoulders and
also just in terms of that resistance profile, we're a little bit more vertical with gravity of where the load will be.
Nice.
So just be like almost have like
sort of here then.
Yeah, almost have like your sternum just kind of on the top. Yeah, so we want to drive those elbows out and back.
Are those elbows too tight or are they all right?
No, that's fine. Yeah, we want to pinch those shoulder blades as we drive back. Yeah, I love it. This you can kind of grip and rip a little bit more. Just shift some tin, take the scap through a full range. So as you'll see now, Sam's fully protracting. And then as he's driving those elbows back, he's really retracting hard. So all of the muscle groups that are kind of attached to the scapula there, they're getting worked. And as you can see,
it's heavy. Whew, that's good.
It's heavy work.
Yeah, that is heavy. That's nice.
With something like this, so how many reps was that?
7.
Okay.
I'm sort of in that 6 to 8 range.
Yeah.
Is that what you wanted?
Yeah. I don't like with something like a row. I don't mind utilizing like 2 lower rep sets, like because it's a little bit safer than a press, just in terms of like on the shoulder. Yeah. So I'm a big advocate. Again, I enjoy lifting heavy.
Yeah, same.
So you can utilize 2 lower rep sets.
Yeah. I saw a good strength coach talking about, everyone says like, which we know the real answer, but like the debate over reps versus building size and stuff. And he's like, I know strong men have a lot of fat on them, but he's like, there's not a lot of small strong men out there. Like he goes, if you're lifting 3 to 6 reps heavy and they're getting heavier, you're increasing your lifts as you go, even if you only stayed in that rep range, he's like, as a consequence of getting stronger, you have to get bigger. So like, stop panicking about, I got to do 12 to 15s. Yeah, I like to pepper those in as well. Like we've done some, but like, it's okay to go heavy. Like, you get bigger, getting stronger.
It's not only okay; it's arguably the most beneficial.
Yeah,
because it's the hard reps, it's the hard sets that stimulate that growth.
Mate, big time. Like I used to have a mate who was, I didn't want to be like alpha when I was coaching him. This is going years back, and he'd do a set, and just say if Morgs is watching, he'd do a set. He was like this. He'd go. I was like, what are you doing? He was like, oh, I could feel that. I'm like, oh, I'm not trying to sound like a bro, but you had like 4 or 5 more in there, mate. Like you said at the top, like if you're not asking your muscle to do more than it currently can, you're not giving it any reason to get bigger.
Exactly.
So you have got to, like, my wife will laugh. My brother who's a good trainer, come in my garage. We were in the kitchen, and every now and then you just hear, and like she's laughing, but I'm like, he's lifting properly.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not pretty.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Like I listened to a good Dorian Yates YouTube episode, and he was like, "You go into gyms." I thought it was so true. You go into gyms, nobody looks like they go to the gym, because, and I'm like, I'm not trying to sound all macho here, but like, I see people, great intentions that you're there, brilliant, and like, I'll support anyone who's in the gym, but sometimes I think, oh, you're wasting your time a little bit.
Yeah.
You're not going hard.
Yeah.
You know, it's like quality over quantity. Go fucking hard sometimes. You know what I mean?
You're cursed with the knowledge almost, aren't you?
Yeah.
That you want to just go and just tell everyone, oh, please just go a bit harder.
I know,
but you don't want to be a dick at the same time.
100%. If somebody asks me for help, I'll always give it to them, but I never want to be that guy who goes over like, oh, mate,
unsolicited.
Exactly.
Right. Well, we'll do second set, same kind of rep range.
Yeah.
Nice and strong now. Yeah, love it. Nice. Drive hard. Yeah, love it. Come on then. Here we go. Good. Couple more there. These are the reps that count. Let's go. Yeah, love it.
That extra 1 centimeter to try and pinch, and you feel the muscle screaming, it's good.
A good cue for this as well, or just any kind of row movement. If you're someone that struggles to connect with your back, a good cue for this is literally just imagine someone's got like their finger in the middle of your back and you want to pinch their finger. So that's just gonna encourage the scaps to fully retract. So yeah, dumbbell shoulder press now. So we're looking at the more vertical press. And you're probably thinking when you look at this bench angle, like, oh, this is not completely upright, it can't be a shoulder press. But if we're looking at the actual function of the shoulder, it's shoulder flexion. Okay, so that's going to be in this plane and this plane as well. But in terms of actually, like, you see a lot of people when they've got the bench jacked up all the way here, and they're trying to press like in this motion here, which is extremely demanding from a mobility standpoint. In terms of like how we actually want to build our shoulders, we want to put a decent amount of load through it. So we want to move in a plane which allows us to do that. So shift the bench pad back a little bit. So if you're actually looking at how I'm pressing in relation to gravity and where the dumbbell will be, it's still a complete vertical press, but it's a much more comfortable pressing motion for your shoulders. You're not going to be in this really tough position, which is going to be really hard on the shoulders, and also two, very hard to produce a lot of force in. Bringing it in slightly and pressing like so, we're going to be a lot stronger and a lot safer. So take that as a tip when you next do your shoulder pressing.
2 sets again?
Yeah, 2 sets again, similar kind of idea as the dumbbell press. So we'll do a heavier top set and then we'll drop down a little bit for the second set. 2 sets here, again, like if you are someone who's newer to training and your skill level isn't as high as Sam's, utilizing a little bit more volume may be beneficial for someone who's maybe more so of a beginner. But again, like when you're working in the SP program, that's why sending over training clips is so important, because us as coaches need to know that you're actually executing in the right way. The quicker we can get you to execute properly, the quicker you can actually take your training to the next level. Big press. Rest periods. My general rule of thumb is kind of just resting until you feel ready to go into the next set.
Good.
I don't really like to put a specific number on it because everyone's different and everyone's recovery capabilities are different. Again, depending on, body weight, fitness levels, experience, stuff like that. So general rule of thumb is just rest until heart rate is settled, your breath is back at a normal rate, and you actually feel mentally and physically ready to go into the set. Because a heavy set like this on the dumbbell press, it's not only physically taxing, but like you have to physically, mentally switch on.
Yeah, you've got to get yourself up for it, 100%.
So, and that's taxing as well. So giving yourself a little bit of a second to be like, okay, I'm going to settle now, regroup, and then take that next set.
Josh, so true. We did an episode here going back a few months ago, and it was like a 1RM, so it was extreme kind of example, but we did 1RM, I believe it was bench, or it was trap bar, deadlift, chin and bench. It took about an hour because it takes a long time, 20 minutes per exercise, So like if you actually looked at the volume, it wasn't massive, but we were fried at the end, like mentally and physically, because you're asking a lot of your nervous system to go that hard, mentally having to get yourself up for that top set, you've got to be a certain arousal, like to want to attack that one rep, So I think that's where people get it wrong, is like I said in the last episode, if you're doing like 30 sets a session, you're not training hard enough. And I think people might have misunderstood that. It's what, you got to do 40 sets. I'm like, no. You do less sets, but you're mentally on for the fewer sets that you're doing, like just what you've said. So I really like that.
Yeah, no, mental arousal is massively taxing. So obviously before I was in my bodybuilding background, I did powerlifting.
Oh, did you? Oh, that's why you're strong as shit.
Yeah.
So, a lot of bodybuilders do come from a powerlifting background.
Yeah, it transfers over quite well.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, it's like on meet day, you obviously do 9 lifts. So you do 3 squats, 3 bench, 3 deadlift.
That's hard.
And the main thing is managing that arousal level.
Yeah.
So like, because you don't want to get so amped up for the squats and the bench, you come to deadlift, which is arguably the most demanding, and you're like, I'm fucking spent.
Yeah, I know.
Like, you're trying to listen to your music, and you're like, this isn't.
I don't fancy this.
You're
Yeah.
Like it's like a gas tank. So you've got to be sparing of when you kind of tap into that arousal and use it sparingly.
Yeah. I've noticed here as well, we haven't done many supersets. You like a advocate for just focusing on the movement that you're doing, or do you have some supersets? Does it depend?
Yeah. So in terms of like, you want to get the most out of everything you're doing, and you want to be the most like proficient of each movement you're doing. Like if we're doing a superset, in terms of like accumulating volume, maybe if you're on a tight time schedule, it's beneficial. However, with like the second exercise you do after that first one, you're always going into it with more fatigue, whether it be like peripheral fatigue around the area, but also just like oxygen debt as well. You've just done a hard set, you're gassed.
Like you said,
Yeah.
fatigue.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a time and a place for supersets, definitely.
Nine. I thought I'm this close. It might have been a bit of an ugly one, the last one, but
again, that's a good set. That's taking the set all the way, and his form was standardized. That's something that I've noticed throughout this whole session, is that all of Sam's reps look the same. The only thing that changes is the speed of the concentric. So every rep he's taking it for a full range. What you'll often see with a lot of people that are maybe a little bit less experienced is, as the set gets hard, their form changes.
Yeah.
You know, keep your form standardized so it's standardized, and so every rep looks the same. Yeah, in terms of where we're at in the session now, vertical and horizontal pull both done, and vertical and horizontal press both done. So that's like the main bulk of the work. Obviously, we started with that side raise. That's kind of like, obviously it is like the main chunk of work, but it's also kind of like a warm up before the presses. We're going to finish off with just biceps and triceps now. It's just going to be 3 sets of biceps, 3 sets of triceps, quite easy. No need to really overcomplicate it. Just pick movements that you enjoy and pick movements that you get a lot out of. Yeah, in terms of Sam, obviously we were talking earlier, he said he's quite bicep heavy on a lot of his pulls, which tells me that his biceps are stronger than his triceps. So we'll just put the triceps earlier than the biceps, really. That's a very, very simple thought process there. We're just going to do a tricep push down. So in terms of the setup here, we essentially want to keep the upper arm, so the humerus, as still as possible. Okay, so the function of the tricep is just to extend the elbow. So we want to pull ourselves into position.
don't be shy, Ed. You've worked hard for this thing.
Gun show,
I thought I had good triceps till I saw Ed, yeah.
So
nice. Jesus.
So you want to keep that upper arm pinned, and then you want to drive the knuckles to the floor while keeping that upper arm pinned. And get a nice big squeeze there.
Nice.
Little tricep show.
We'll get that on the teaser reel.
But yeah, main thing here is, again, just keeping that upper arm pinned in place. The same with bicep and tricep. You just want to keep the humerus pinned. We want to avoid kind of coming into any shoulder flexion, which is obviously going to just aid the movement. If we want to isolate that muscle group, we want to keep that upper arm pinned.
Nice.
So why I like an incline is it essentially sets the shoulder into extension. So obviously the bicep attaches to the shoulder joint. And if we kind of put ourselves in a position where the shoulder can be behind the torso, we're already lengthening the bicep. So we're putting it into a stretch position where it's got a little bit more leverage.
Well, there's studies on that, isn't it? That when you train the muscle in a length and range,
that
it's better for
mediated hypertrophy. If you want it, get all nerdy about all the.
I know you know. That's why I asked you the question. See, you don't look like that by accident.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, typically your muscle is stronger when it's in the stretch. So you can typically accumulate more mechanical tension when you're training things in stretch range. Again, similar to the tricep, we want to pin that upper arm in place, keep the chest up and the shoulders back, and then from here, you just want to imagine dragging your forearm up, and we're squeezing there.
Similar to the tricep, that, like you say, this portion of your arm here looks fixed, doesn't it? You're not moving whatsoever, and that can also be on the reel as well.
Yeah, so what you can do as well with the incline dumbbell is, if you can see here, I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up on the camera, but I'm almost wedging my arms into the bench because this is quite a nice thick bench. So you can almost use that as a brace to almost drive back into as you're curling up.
Yeah.
Okay. And then again, obviously, like every other movement we've done, you want to try and take this to as a close proximity to failure as you can.
You be worried about rep ranges on this, or do you tend to go lower, higher on arms? What do you like doing?
I mean, all muscles like respond to the same stimulus in terms of like lower reps. The last 5 reps are going to be the most beneficial. But again, if we're looking at like joint health as well and joint longevity, a lot of people can't perform a 5-rep bicep curl set with good form. It's very difficult to do so. So that's when you can utilize a high rep set where it's safer. And obviously you still get those last 5 reps, but it's at a load where it's a little bit more manageable technique-wise.
Got you. Cool, I'll get into it. Right, arms, upper body, absolutely cooked after that. Ed, legend, thank you very much. Keep an eye out for future episodes, particularly with Ed. And if there's anything you want to see with Ed's background and expertise that he's adding to the academy, just put it in the comments below and we can produce some more content on that. Thanks for tuning in and see you next time.